In the heart of Riverside town, there stood an old library made of red brick and covered in climbing ivy. It had tall windows, creaky wooden floors, and the most wonderful smell of old paper and mystery. 10-year-old Maya visited this library every Saturday with her grandmother. While Grandma browsed the gardening section, Maya would explore the endless rows of books, running her fingers along their spines, listening to the whisper of pages when other readers turned them. Maya loved books more than anything. She loved adventures, mysteries, fairy tales, and stories about brave kids who did extraordinary things. But there was one section of the library Maya had never explored, the very back corner on the 3rd floor, where the oldest books lived. The sign above that section read, "Historical Collection, handle with care." Most kids found those books boring. They had faded covers, tiny print, and no pictures. But one rainy Saturday, when Maya had already read every other book that interested her, she decided to venture into that forgotten corner. The floorboards creaked under her feet as she walked between the tall, dusty shelves. A shaft of gray light from the window illuminated thousands of ancient books, their leather spines cracked with age. Maya ran her finger along the shelf, reading titles: The History of Riverside, 1823, Town Records and Documents, Memories of the Old Mill, all very boring, just as she'd expected. But then her finger stopped on one book that seemed different from the others. It was smaller than the rest, bound in dark green leather that somehow didn't look dusty at all. The title, written in elegant gold letters, read, The Book of Unfinished Stories. Curious, Maya pulled it from the shelf. The moment her fingers touched the cover, something strange happened. The book felt warm, almost alive, like it had been waiting for her. A tingle ran up her arm, and for just a second, Maya thought she heard a small voice whisper, "Finally." She looked around, but the library was quiet except for the rain pattering against the windows. Maya opened the book carefully. The first page was written in beautiful, flowing handwriting. Dear reader, welcome to the Book of Unfinished Stories. Within these pages, you will find tales that were started but never completed, dreams that were begun but never finished, adventures that were interrupted before their endings. Choose one story, and it will choose you in return. But beware, once a story chooses you, you must see it through to its end, or you will be unable to let go of this book until you do. Maya's heart beat faster with excitement. This was exactly the kind of mysterious, magical thing she'd always hoped to find in a library. She turned the page and found a table of contents listing dozens of story titles. The Princess Who Lost Her Voice, The Inventor's Last Machine, The Garden That Grew Backwards, The Boy Who Collected Shadows, The Lighthouse Keeper's Secret. Each title was more intriguing than the last. Maya's eyes landed on one that made her pause, The Girl Who Was Forgotten. Before she could even decide if she wanted to read it, the pages of the book began turning on their own, flipping rapidly until they stopped at that exact story. Maya gasped as words began to appear on the blank page, writing themselves in flowing ink as if an invisible hand held a pen. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Lily who lived in Riverside town. She was kind and creative and full of wonderful ideas. But one day, something terrible happened. Everyone forgot she existed. Her parents, her teachers, her friends, they all woke up one morning with no memory of Lily at all. She became invisible, walking through a world where no one could see her, hear her, or remember her name. And so Lily set out on a quest to find the one thing that could make people remember. The writing stopped mid-sentence, leaving the story incomplete. Maya waited for more words to appear, but nothing happened. She turned the page, hoping for a continuation, but the next pages were blank. That's it? Maya said aloud, disappointed. But what happened to Lily? Did she find a way to make people remember? How does the story end? As if in answer, the book suddenly snapped shut in her hands. Maya tried to open it again, but the pages wouldn't budge. It was as if the book had locked itself. Even stranger, when she tried to put the book back on the shelf, her hand wouldn't let go. Her fingers seemed stuck to the cover, as if glued there. What's happening? Maya whispered, starting to panic. She pulled harder, but the book stayed firmly attached to her hand. Then she remembered the warning on the first page, Once a story chooses you, you must see it through to its end, or you will be unable to let go of this book. Oh no, Maya breathed. The story chose me, and now I have to finish it? But how? It's not my story. She tried everything, shaking her hand, pulling with her other hand, even asking Grandma for help, but nothing worked. The book remained stuck to her palm like it had become part of her. The librarian, Mrs. Patterson, a kind woman with reading glasses on a chain, came over looking concerned. Maya, dear, what's wrong? This book won't let go of my hand. Maya explained, showing her. Mrs. Patterson examined the book carefully, her eyes widening when she read the title. Oh my. Oh dear. I haven't seen this book in 40 years. I thought it had been lost. You know about it? Maya asked hopefully. Mrs. Patterson nodded slowly. When I was your age, this book chose me too. I picked a story about a lost treasure, and the book wouldn't let go until I found the real treasure it was describing. You see, Maya, the stories in this book aren't entirely fiction. They're half real. They're based on true things that happened in Riverside, but the endings were lost to time. The book needs someone to discover the real ending. Maya's eyes widened. So Lily, the girl who was forgotten, she was real? If the book chose that story for you, then yes, she must have been, Mrs. Patterson said gently. And somewhere in this town, there's a way to finish her story. Once you discover it, the book will release you. Maya felt a mixture of fear and excitement. But how do I find out what happened to her? Where do I even start? Mrs. Patterson smiled mysteriously. The book will guide you. Pay attention to what happens next. The story has already begun pulling you in. Maya went home that afternoon with the book still stuck to her hand. She had to eat dinner with one hand, do her homework with one hand, and even try to sleep with the book resting on her chest. But that night, something magical happened. Maya dreamed she was walking through Riverside town, but everything looked older, the cars were vintage, the clothes people wore were from decades ago, and the buildings looked different. She walked down Main Street and saw a girl about her age standing on the corner. The girl had dark braids and wore a blue dress with white flowers. She was waving at people passing by, calling out hello. Can you see me? Please, someone notice me. But everyone walked right past her as if she were invisible. Lily? Maya called out. The girl turned, and her eyes filled with tears of relief. You can see me? I can see you, Maya confirmed. What happened to you? I don't know. Lily cried. One day I was normal, and the next day everyone forgot I existed. I've been trying to make people remember, but nothing works. I'm fading away, disappearing bit by bit. Soon I'll be gone completely, and it will be like I never existed at all. There has to be a way to fix this, Maya said. What were you doing the day before everyone forgot you? Lily thought hard. I was at the library. I was working on something important, a time capsule. The whole town was creating one to bury in the park. Everyone contributed something precious to them. I made a beautiful drawing of my family and friends and wrote a letter about my dreams for the future. I put it in the capsule the day before. She trailed off, her eyes widening. The capsule. When they buried it, they must have buried my memories with it. My existence got trapped inside. Where did they bury it? Maya asked urgently. Under the old oak tree in Riverside Park, Lily said. But Maya, I don't know if. Maya woke up suddenly, gasping. Morning sunlight streamed through her window, and the book was still attached to her hand, but now it felt warmer, almost encouraging. She knew what she had to do. After breakfast, Maya asked Grandma to take her to Riverside Park. In the center of the park stood an enormous oak tree, its branches spreading wide like protective arms. Maya walked around the tree, studying the ground. There, half hidden by overgrown grass, she found a small bronze plaque, time capsule buried 1985, to be opened 2035. 1985, that was almost 40 years ago. The capsule wouldn't be opened for many more years. But Maya couldn't wait that long. Lily's story needed an ending now. She called Grandma over and explained everything: the book, the dream, the forgotten girl whose memories were trapped underground. Grandma listened carefully, and instead of dismissing it as imagination, she said, "I remember 1985. I was young then, living in this town. And you know what? I do remember there being a girl. I can almost see her face, but it's so blurry, like a photograph that's been left in the sun too long. That's Lily," Maya exclaimed. "She's been forgotten, but the memories are still there, just buried." Grandma made some phone calls. She contacted the mayor's office, the historical society, and several town council members. She explained that there was important historical information that needed to be verified from the 1985 time capsule. After several hours of discussion and paperwork, the town agreed to an early opening, just of one item, to verify its contents for historical records. 3 days later, Maya stood with Grandma, Mrs. Patterson, the mayor, and several curious townspeople as a crew carefully excavated the area beneath the oak tree. When they lifted the metal time capsule from the ground and opened it, there were gasps of amazement. Inside were dozens of items: letters, photos, small toys, newspaper clippings. And there, near the bottom, was a folded piece of paper with a child's drawing. The drawing showed a family of 4 standing in front of a house, all smiling. At the bottom, in careful child's handwriting, it read, "My name is Lily Chen. I am 10 years old. I love to draw and read. My dream is to become an artist. I hope whoever finds this remembers that I was here, and I mattered." The moment Maya saw the name Chen, she understood. She turned to Mrs. Patterson. "Chen, like Mrs. Chen, our art teacher at school?" Mrs. Patterson's eyes filled with tears. "Oh my goodness. Lily Chen. She would be in her 50s now. I need to make a phone call." Within an hour, a woman arrived at the park. She had graying hair and kind eyes, and she walked with a slight limp. When she saw the drawing from the time capsule, she began to cry. "I made this," she whispered, touching the paper gently. "I remember now. I was 10 years old. I was so excited about the time capsule. But the day after we buried it, I got very sick, a terrible fever that lasted for weeks. When I recovered, I had lost some of my memories from that time. For years, I felt like something was missing, like I'd forgotten something important about myself." She looked at the drawing again. "This was me. My dreams, my hopes, my 10-year-old self. I'd forgotten her completely." Maya felt the book in her hand growing warmer. She looked down and saw new words appearing on the pages. And so Lily's story found its ending. She wasn't truly forgotten, she had been waiting all these years to be remembered. The girl she was at 10 had been locked away, but now she was found again. Every person deserves to be remembered. Every dream deserves to be honored. And every story, no matter how long it takes, deserves its ending. The final words wrote themselves, the end. The moment those words appeared, the book gently released Maya's hand, falling softly into her arms. The adult Lily Chen smiled at Maya through her tears. "Thank you for finding me, the me I used to be. I think I'd like to start drawing again." Maya hugged the book to her chest, feeling its satisfied warmth. She had finished the story, and in doing so, she'd helped someone recover a lost piece of themselves. Mrs. Patterson patted Maya's shoulder. "Well done, dear. The book chose wisely." "What happens to the book now?" Maya asked. "You return it to the library," Mrs. Patterson said. "And it will wait there until the next person needs to finish a story." That evening, Maya placed the book of unfinished stories back on the shelf in the historical collection. As she walked away, she could have sworn she heard that small voice again, whispering, "Thank you." And Maya knew that somewhere in Riverside, there were other unfinished stories waiting to be completed by someone brave enough to hold the book. But those were adventures for another day. The end. Bedtime message. Sweet child, every person has a story, and every story matters. Sometimes people or dreams get forgotten or buried, like Lily's time capsule. But they're never truly gone, they're just waiting to be remembered and honored. You, too, have a story that matters. Your dreams, your hopes, your 10-year-old self, or whatever age you are, they all deserve to be remembered and celebrated. Never let anyone make you feel forgotten or invisible. And remember, sometimes the most magical adventures aren't in fantasy lands far away. Sometimes they're right in your own town, waiting to be discovered in old libraries, buried time capsules, or in the memories of people who just need someone to help them remember. Every story deserves an ending. Every person deserves to be remembered. And you, dear one, are an important part of many stories. Now close your eyes, and imagine your own story being written in beautiful, flowing script, full of adventure, kindness, and magic.